So I just wanted to give an update on my fruit trees and a little tour of the garden. So we've got my Santa Rosa plum, which is a yellow flesh plum with red skin growing here, and it's growing super healthily. It's got lots of little plums on it, which I'm really excited for because I got some last year. Even though it's only a 3-year-old tree, it was 2 at the time that it gave me plums last year. And check out that trunk. It is so strong and healthy. Like, I planted it as a bare root stick basically 3 years ago, and look at it now. The netting that I got wasn't quite long enough, so you can see it's a little bit cramped in there, but you know, we'll just see how we go with it, and if it starts growing out the top, it starts growing out the top. This one here is my it's a white flesh nectarine. It's called Gold Mine. It's recommended in the books that I was reading as being like one of the best tasting nectarines out there. Really, really healthy plant. Again, this is a 3-year-old plant. They're all grafted. All these 4 stone fruit are grafted onto dwarfing rootstock as well. So when you train them in an espalier like this, it should only get to about 2 to 3 meters tall. And check out those nectarines. Like, it is just absolutely producing this year, and I'm really, really excited for it. It's sort of the first year I'll get nectarines off that tree, so we'll be able to test the theory and see if they're as good as what the books told me they will be. Now, this one here is a Alberta peach, which is a yellow flesh peach, and check out the little peaches there. Lots of peaches on it. And again, this is a really vigorous plant. You can see how thick that trunk has gotten. There's the dwarfing rootstock, and the trunk of the tree is actually so much thicker than the rootstock. So it's, yeah, super, super healthy. And it's just growing up and up and giving us lots of peaches this year. I didn't get to eat any last year because it only put out about 2 or 3 peaches, and they got eaten by something, probably possums or rats. This nectarine I had very high hopes for. It's a yellow flesh gold mine nectarine. Last year I was a little bit disappointed. I had to cut off one of the branches down the bottom. You can see it's got 7 branches where it should have 8. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 branches. There should be 1 down the bottom here. And last year there were quite a few aphids on it, and I sprayed it probably a bit too hard with neem oil, which is like an organic pesticide. And I think it was quite a hot day, and it sunburnt that branch really badly, and I had to prune it off completely because it was just dying. And this year, when it got hit by aphids again really hard, all the new growth was just infested with aphids. So I came out with my hose and was spraying it every almost twice a day. Had nothing better to do because I was on maternity leave. And I was spraying my fruit tree quite hard with like a strong jet of water, and you can see the tips there are just blackening off. It's got this thing here, which is like, I think, the beginnings of a bacterial canker. So I suspect that's what it has, in which case I'll need to prune back everything and just hope that it survives. But it's got quite a lot of nectarines on it, so I'm not sure whether or not I should be taking those off. I'm not sure I've got the heart to, or whether I just let them develop. But if I do that, it might take quite a bit of energy out of the plant. But look, I mean, for the last 2 years, it's been hit really hard by aphids, whereas my other trees are not. I don't really like to use sprays and things. I do spray these 3 trees with a copper fungicide twice a year when the leaves drop off, and also when the new buds start to form, just to prevent leaf curl on nectarines. But that's all I use as a spray. Anyway, in between my fruit trees. You can see 3 netted little hoops that I've made, and they have these blueberry plants in them, which my mum actually gave me in grow bags. She'd had them for a while and they weren't doing anything, but I put them into the ground and gave them a handful of rose and azalea fertilizer. So blueberries like acidic soil. I actually wanted to use potting mix, rose and azalea potting mix, but I couldn't find any. So I just put in some rose and azalea fertilizer, and it seems to have done the trick, because they, like roses and azaleas, like acidic soil. So yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for those blueberries, and it'll be fun to come out here and pick them and watch them ripen. Now these 2 plants here are pear trees. So this one is a Doyen de Commerce French pear. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing that rightly, but it's got a kind of greenish skin with a red blush on it. Very pretty, and apparently tastes really nice. So we'll see. I mean, pears take a few years to produce, and these are only on their 3rd year. So I was hopeful that I might get a few, but not to be. Except when I came out this morning, this one's my Nashi pear. Except when I came out this morning and I was sort of starting to tie back the next row of Espaliers, the next side branches, I came out and I was looking at these branches, and check it out. I have one little Nashi forming, which is just, yeah, super exciting. That one will be a prized treat. So yeah, I might even have to bag that one little Nashi up, which will look quite funny. Along here I've got some tomato plants, and I've got peas from the pea straw popping up, which I'm just going to leave because, you know, they'll be a nice little addition to the soil, you know, with the roots in the soil, keeping all the microbes healthy until the tomato plants get big enough to take over. And then we've got some zucchinis and cosmos and lettuces and basil along the back. And down the back here, more fruit trees. So another trellis along the back fence that I just put in a few weeks ago. This one here is a Cara orange, which is a type of, it's similar to a blood orange. I'm not sure if it's technically classified as a blood orange, but it's like a pink flesh orange. The flesh itself is pink, whereas I think blood oranges, the tissue of the sort of the vein regions of the orange are red. So anyway, either way, this is a Cara blood orange, and I think the warmer weather you get as well, the pinker the flesh. So we'll see how it goes. Either way, I might be an orange or it might be a pink orange, but it should be delicious. And I've just planted some little daisies along the bottom here, some alyssum to attract bees, and they'll self-seed over time and hopefully suppress some of the weeds coming through. And this one here is a Smyrna quince. So quinces, you know, you use them in cooking. They are just one of my absolute favorite fruits, so I'm really excited for it. Again, it'll take probably a few years to produce, but looking forward to it. And then this one over here is a Fuyu persimmon, which is a non-astringent type of persimmon. You can eat it when it's firm, when it's hard, or when it's soft. And again, this was bought as bare root stock, and you can see it's basically a stick, and that's how all my other fruit trees along that side fence started. So you know, you can see the potential of this in 3 years will hopefully be as big as those other trees, if it lives, because it hasn't even put out any new growth yet. So hopefully it lives. I'm sure it will. And then this one over here next to the chook pen is Satsuma blood plum. So I've just given it a good prune back to start the forming of the Espalier, but it actually is a cross-pollinator for my other plum, which was at the start of this video. So the other plum, I mean, they're partially self-fertile plants anyway, so you do get some fruit, but the fruit setting is improved if you have a pollinator for it, another variety. So this one, the Satsuma plum, acts as a pollinator for the Santa Rosa, and I think likewise as well. So that'll be nice to get a few extra fruit, but also just because homegrown plums are delicious. Like, I never was much of a plum fan until I had the plums last year with my Santa Rosa plum tree, and they were just beautiful. You can see we've got a bit of construction going on, but I've been chucking, this will be the future chook pen, and I've been chucking a lot of soil and you know, garden clippings and even some spare turf from the front yard, from the yard over there. I've chucked it in this region, so it's a bit of a mess, but I've also set up what will be in the middle of the chook pen. I've also set up this raised bed, which has, I'm going to cover with some chicken wire to keep the chooks from scratching out all the dirt here. But it's got a mulberry tree and also a couple of salvias that are transplanted, but it's got this dwarf mulberry tree which will grow up and hopefully provide the chooks with a bit of shade in summer, but also some extra nutrients through the mulberries, because it'll be dropping them down into the yard, and they will absolutely love it, and so will we, especially considering I am missing my berries, given that I pulled out my silverberry and silverberry and raspberry plants because they were kind of a little bit invasive. So they had to go. Now down this end I've got a couple of potted citrus. This one's a Tahitian lime, and it's got quite a few little limes growing on it. It's been affected really badly by citrus gall wasp. You can see the galls there, and it's only a young plant, so I'm not sure how it's going to go and whether I should chop it off. I think what I'm going to do is provide a bit of structure with the trellis to it, considering that it's kind of quite lopsided now. Some of the branches broke off when we were moving the pot around as well, because we've been doing a bit of renovating. And this here is a macroot lime, so it gets these really cool little limes on it. I don't think I've got any to show you. They can be used for their zest, but mostly it's used for these leaves in, like, you know, Thai sort of curries and coconut soups and things. They're just beautiful, and it's a really pretty looking plant. I mean, imagine walking out of your house and seeing that. That's just a great way to, you know, start the day. Got my grass tree here, which is sending up this amazing flower spike, and then more fruit trees in pots. This is a Lisbon lemon. It's got a couple of lemons on it still, lots more little ones forming. I've had to give it a good prune because quite a lot of the foliage and branches got damaged while we were moving the pot around over the last few months with building this shed. And then over here I've got a mandarin, an imperial mandarin, which is putting out lots and lots of new little flowers and growth. I've given it a good prune recently through the middle. You can see I've taken off quite a lot of these middle branches just to open it up, and it seemed to quite like it. I got quite a few mandarins off it in the last year. Initially, it's about 5 years old now. Yeah, 5 years old. We got it for a wedding present in 2019, so it's 5 years old. And initially I thought, oh, it's a bit of a dud, because I was having the mandarins, I was only getting 1 or 2 a year, and they were very dry. But last year I sort of made a concerted effort to really water it more frequently and look after it a bit better, and the mandarins were beautiful, and I got loads of them. So yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed the garden update, and I'll keep you posted.